Okay, I have no script for this video. It's been a month and a half since my last one, and to top it all off, I am sick, okay? So, it's been a month and a half. That's my bad. I got a new job. I've been a little bit busy with that. I work nights as security. I do want to kill myself. Don't mind that, though. So, today's video is an interesting one. It's a concept I've been seeing argued a lot on the internet recently, and I don't know why, because I feel it's a pretty cut and dry question. But it's, who is better for the Mojave Waste? Is it the Legion or the NCR? And like I said, I think this one's pretty cut and dry, so I don't know how long of a video this is going to be, but we'll see how much I can stretch it out. So the first and definitely the smallest section of this video is going to be morality. Which side should you choose based off your own morality? And I'm going to be honest, it's simple. It's the NCR, all right? The Legion is atrocious. They do genuinely heinous things all the time. Slavery, crucifixions, mass murder, just for the fuck of it. You know, they do it for fun, for the funsies, for the lore, if you will. All right? They will go into your town, kill everybody, and your second place prize for winning the lottery is broken legs being left to die. All right? And I know when we're talking about morality here, it's subjective, okay? It can go back and forth. However, the NCR's biggest bad is they massacred a bunch of cons, which is bad, I'll admit. However, the NCR's biggest flaw is really nothing compared to the Legion's. The Legion does some really awful shit a lot. All right, so if we're talking about what is best for the Mojave Wasteland's future in terms of morality, it's definitely going to be the NCR. And there's going to be some exploitation there. There's going to be taxes having to be paid. It's going to suck. However, it's better than getting crucified for sneezing out of turn. It just is what it is. I don't make the rules. But what's next on the docket is longevity. Which faction, the NCR, the Legion, has more longevity in its future? What's going to last? What will be built and not fall apart fucking immediately after the game? And, you know, there's going to be a lot of discourse here because from what we know from the Fallout show, it did fall apart, but purely based on what we know from the game and not what happened with the Fallout show. Whatever you may think of it, it is canon. It looks like the NCR is the better choice, plain and simple, in terms of longevity, because the second Caesar dies, the Legion will run out of steam. They are based around him. He's a dictator, and that's kind of all there is to it. However, he has a brain tumor, and he does die when you choose any ending that's not the Legion's ending, and even then his future isn't certain. We don't know how much life he has left in him, so at best he's got another 20 years max. He's old. He's going to die sooner rather than later. So when he dies, what's left of the Legion? Well, honestly, there's nothing really left. It's going to be a whole lot of warring tribes with bonk sticks smacking the shit out of each other and looting each other. It's going to devolve into chaos, and the Mojave is going to get the short end of the stick with that as well. And, you know, Caesar is 55 years old. He's old. That's an old man in reality. So in the Fallout universe, where there's radiation and mutants and shit, him having brain cancer is a death sentence, okay? That's a death sentence in our world, all right? And so if he even does somehow pull through the assistance of the courier or something else, he's still going to die in a few years. And the Legion is going to disband, because the Legion has only existed for 30 years, give or take, all right? And it's made up of multiple different tribes and multiple different factions, a lot of whom don't actually get along, but they still serve under the flag of the Bull. So there's not real much point for them to stay together once Caesar's dead. It's just, they're not going to. On the other side of the coin, there's the New California Republic, which has already existed for 140 years, proving their longevity. All right? It's had several presidents, and they have a proven political system, so if their leader dies, President Kimball, I think it's President Kimball, I don't know, I'm not double checking. If their president dies, there is a system in place. In fact, one of the presidents has died in the past, with the vice president then taking over. They're fail-safes for if something horrible should go wrong, and I do personally believe that we will see more of the New California Republic in Fallout Season 2. I believe that they're still functioning even though Shady Sands got fucking detonated in the Fallout show. Dumb decision, yes. But I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking. But I do believe that the NCR is able to pull through the incident of Shady Springs getting destroyed. I think that it sucks. It's going to put the nation back quite a bit, but I do think that they are going to pull through, and we'll see quite a bit more of them in Fallout Season 2. But unlike the Legion, the NCR has a standing Congress. They have a vice president and a president. So if someone dies, it's not game over for the nation state. It's going to regroup. In fact, it has done this notably in the past. And when we're talking about longevity here, it's very cut and dry. It's the NCR again. So it's 2 for 2 so far, because the Legion's just not going to last without Caesar, and Caesar's an old man with brain cancer. All right, the NCR is cooked as soon as he's gone, and he's gone very soon. All right, so when it comes to the game of longevity, it's the NCR again. And for our third and final category, we've got infrastructure. Starting with the Legion again, the Legion doesn't really have any infrastructure. All right, for logistics and supplies, their supplies are gathered through raiding and enslaving populations and looting. All right, it's looting and pillaging, the Viking style, and that's been proven historically to not be sustaining. All right, so when it comes to supplies, Caesar's Legion, it doesn't really have any long-term sustainability or infrastructure with it. But let's talk about, well, communication. What kind of communication do they have? Well, they use human couriers, word of mouth, rather than radios or electronic communication, because they have an avoidance of pre-war tech, which is a part of the doctrine behind Caesar's Legion. So they don't have communication, they don't have supply lines, they don't have much in the way of logistics. What about their medical side? Well, medically, their infrastructure is also extremely limited. They don't have much in the way of medical science. Caesar himself has access to an auto doc, but he's the only one with access to that, and it's because he's in charge. There's only 1 or 2 physicians in the entirety of the game that you can find that are allied with the Legion. They reject advanced technology as it's a corrupting influence, and that includes medical technology. So when it comes to medical infrastructure, there's nothing there either. But on the other side of that is the second time I've said the other side of that this video. Actually, I think it's the third. I need new sayings. However, on the other side of that, there's the NCR. And the NCR wins with just one thing and one thing only. I'll explain everything, but they only really need this one thing. They have a functioning train that works. A train. It goes back and forth. That's all they need. I mean, seriously, think about this comparison. A bunch of idiots with spears that do siege-style warfare versus a train. Okay? It's not comparable. It's just really not. But let's get into everything else. When it comes to logistics and supply lines, there are proper caravan routes. There are proper trading routes. Proper vehicles. There are vehicles that the NCR uses. We just don't see them much in the game. But they do have vehicles. They have an air force for their military with vertibirds and whatnot. The NCR isn't solely reliant on couriers to relay information. It's not word of mouth. They have radios. They have electronic communication. The NCR also actively pursues medical breakthroughs in medical science. So when it comes to medical infrastructure, it's just leagues and bounds ahead of what the Legion has, and they're actively trying to advance medical technology. It's not going the greatest because they're in the wasteland, but they are trying. So there's also civic infrastructure. There's schools, formal governance, and cities, and all of it's like relatively well functioning. So it's really not a debate on what has better infrastructure, the NCR or the Legion. It's the NCR all the way again. I mean, seriously, where would you rather live? In a city that's somewhat safe and you kind of have to pay taxes, but you don't get crucified, you can go to the doctor if you're sick, there's school for your kids? Or on the other side, you can live in a feudalistic society where sickness and disease is rampant. If you talk out of line or even think out of line, or if someone higher up on the food chain than you just simply wants to do it for fun, you'll get crucified or murdered or sold into slavery, or all of the above just for fun. And so, in my opinion, it's not really much of a debate. So, in conclusion, it's the NCR. If you thought it was going to be something other than the NCR, then you're fucking stupid, all right? There's no debate here. It's the NCR. There's infrastructure. There's longevity. There's safety, all right? It's not morally heinous to be a part of it. It's the NCR, and there's no debate. But on that note, I'm going to wrap this video up. It was fun talking about it, even though it is kind of a silly question. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, let me know. Hit the like button, subscribe, all that shit, or don't. I don't really care. I just had fun making this.